The light is proper. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So, Walk of Life is a platform where students of the department explain specimens that are in the department because we have a magnificent
In the field of zoology, every action, no matter how insignificant it may seem, has something to contribute to the bigger picture.
From the flap of a butterfly to the trumpet of an elephant, every little action in the biological realm leads to something bigger than itself. This is Giselle.
And the bunker.
And on behalf of the Xavier Zoology Association and the Department of Zoology at St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, we welcome you to another exciting edition of our flagship event, the Walk of Life.
First, let's get to know a bit more about the Walk of Life from our very own Conrad sir, Assistant Professor of Zoology here at St. Xavier's College, Mumbai.
So, Walk of Life is a platform where students of the department explain specimens that are in the department because we have a magnificent collection of specimens with us to every person in the college probably, and our target audience is actually school children from the classes of 8th to 12th. The idea is to get them interested in biology, especially subjects like conservation, ecology, wildlife biology, molecular biology, and attract them to do pure sciences rather than any other ancillary science course. So the idea is attract the young students who come here. So we get a lot of schools that come for the Walk of Life. From in and around South Bombay, we've got schools right from Goregaon and Malad that have come on their own to take part in the Walk of Life. Walk of Life is basically an open-ended exhibition. It's a walk-in exhibition. We take you a tour around the entire lab where the specimens are displayed in our lab, and you exit out once the tour is done. It involves some video footage being shown, some interactions being held, some games being held, and majorly the component is specimens being displayed for students. Every year the Walk of Life has a theme. Right from our inception in 2016, we've had themes like ecology, ecosystem niches, predatory behavior, evolution. So these have been our themes over the years, and students have used the specimens in the lab to bring out those themes. And it has been done in a wonderful fashion. And in keeping with the tradition, we hope to continue with Walk of Life. Barring the lockdown period, we hope to continue with it every year.
Thank you for the fine introduction, Conrad sir. This time around, with the title, Bonds Across Biomes, the Walk of Life shall explore the occurrence of different symbiotic interactions across a multitude of biomes.
But hold on a minute. What on earth is a biome? What exactly do you mean by symbiosis?
I'm glad you asked. In the world of biology, any interaction between two organisms living in close association can be called a symbiotic relation. Usually, at least one of the participants in the symbiotic relationship derives some kind of benefit from the other.
I strongly feel this predicament is similar to a certain supervillain who is clad in black and has the powers of a spider. What was his name again?
It's quite similar to the character you recalled, whose name we shall not mention for obvious reasons. Coming to biomes, a biome is a large ecological community consisting of a variety of plants and animals spread out over a huge geographic area.
Wow, sounds cool. I want to know more about this.
And now, onto the main event. Each presenter today will be talking to you about some unique symbiotic interactions that take place in one of the many biomes found on the planet.
The Tundra is a polar region found mainly in Alaska, Canada, Russia, Scandinavia, Greenland, Iceland, and the subarctic islands. At high latitude in the polar regions, it's chiefly treeless. Winters in the area are long and dry, with months of complete darkness and bitterly cold temperatures. The majority of precipitation is in the form of snow, which explains why the soils are low in pH and high in moisture. consequence of local variations in the environment, including the alterations in pH and moisture, vegetation could be scattered or patchy. Now, let's take a look at our specimens. Arctic foxes belong to the class Mammalia and the family Canidae. They are petite and robust in comparison to other foxes, with their short snouts, stumpy legs, and small curled ears that aid to reduce heat loss. All these characteristics pertain to adaptations in cold temperatures. Arctic foxes keep their pads warm and their core temperatures maintained by the virtue of their thick hair and a unique circulation mechanism in their paws. These foxes have a long white fur coat in the winters, which sheds to a dark grey to bluish brown coat in the summers. They are 3 feet long from the tip of the nose to the end of the tail and weigh about 6 to 12 pounds. During the mating season, Arctic foxes establish monogamous relationship. The usual gestation period lasts from about 4 to 5 weeks. The polar bear, Ursus maritimus, is a hypercarnivorous bear endemic to the Arctic Circle, which includes Arctic Ocean, its neighboring waters, and nearby landmasses. It is the world's biggest bear and the world's largest terrestrial carnivore. Polar bears have 2 thick layers of fur which virtually keep them warm and act as insulators. In fact, it keeps them so warm that when males sprint, they tend to get overheated. Polar bears have air gaps in their fur. When light hits these air gaps, it scatters light of all wavelengths. Therefore, the fur appears white while their skin is black. Polar bears have slip-proof treads. Small velvety bumps called papillae cover the black foot pads on the bottom of each paw. The bear's papillae grasp the eyes and prevent them from slipping. Warmth is also provided by the tufts of hair between the toes and the foot of their pads. Polar bear claws are used to cling to slippery seals and other prey, as well as obtain traction on ice. To limit heat loss and maintain as much warmth as possible, polar bears have tiny spherical ears and short compact tails. Arctic foxes are predominantly scavengers. Therefore, when polar bear hunts and is eating, the Arctic foxes follow them, and when they are done, they eat the remnants of the prey. The Arctic fox benefits from this association, while the polar bear remains unaffected. Therefore, this is a pertinent example that manifests symbiotic interdependence in the form of commensalism.
The biome with tundra to its north and temperate forest to its south is CS, Taiga, and it is the cold forest area in the subarctic region of the northern hemisphere. This is home to many evergreen coniferous trees like pine, fir, larch, spruce, and it is also abode of many different species of animals like the snowshoe hare, which is also called Lepus americanus, foxes, minks, lynxes, squirrels, all of these. And all of these species have very intriguing symbiotic relationships with one another, wherein either both or one of them benefit from each other. The symbiotic relationship in question here is that of an owl and a woodpecker. Let's talk about the owl first. Now, even though the climate of Taiga consists of very long-lasting cold winters, many species inhabit this area, which include the great horned owl and the long-eared owl. Now, this 18 to 25 inch long great horned owl make use of their very outstanding night vision for hunting, and their diet mainly consists of mammals like rabbit, mice, rats. And now about woodpeckers, they are predators that feed on insects from the bark of the tree. They have a very strong, sturdy, chisel-like tip for their beaks, which helps them to strip off the bark and find their food. So this keeps the insect population in control and also helps in the faster decaying of dead trees. And now for the relationship between the woodpecker and the owl. The woodpecker makes holes in the tree trunk in search for their food, and the owl usually doesn't make its own nest, it just inhabits this hole. And so it becomes an example for commensalistic relationship wherein the owl gets place for accommodation and the woodpecker is neither benefited nor harmed.
The temperate forest biome exists between equator and polar regions, holding a canopy of broadleaf trees occupying the intermediate area with the increasing latitude, which creates a steepened climate gradient. harboring 4 defined seasons with evenly spread precipitation, heavier around certain dense foliage. They are high in biomass, although there is low species diversity. Our focus here is on the commensalic relationship between the ant birds and the army ants. Acetinae are army ants with a body length of approximately 3 mm. Some may measure 9 to 14 mm long, while the queen is several centimeters in length. The proportion of the ants are determined by the diet when it is young. The soldier ant has a well-proportioned body structure to carry its large head and hooked mandibles. The soldier worker ants are 1/5 the size of the soldier and have no mandibles. These ants make a nest out of their body, a bivouac. To form the bivouac, some of the workers hold onto each other to form the walls and the chambers of the nest, holding the queen, the new eggs, and the developing brood. The colony moves between 2 stages of behavior, stationary and migratory, which depend on the queen's reproductive phase. Acetinae operates in swarm raids and have a tendency to take anything that cannot escape their powerful jaws. These army ants head out in a single column that fans out into a swarm, sometimes several meters in width. They communicate through pheromones and chemical signals. Ant birds are insect-eating birds known for following ant raids. They are small with flocculent plumage, small rounded wings, strong legs accompanied by stout bill with a hooked or notched tip. The calls are loud with cacophonous voices that may be heard in echo duets. The ant birds do not feast on army ants themselves as they have formic acid in their abdomen. In this symbiotic relationship, the Acetinae support the community of specialist birds that obtain food by capturing small vertebrates attempting to escape from the swarm. Ant birds eat whatever is left behind by the swarm. The army ants also shake the forest floor on their raids, which displaces the insects. They watch for when these insects spring out of their way or fly into the air to prey on them. In this way, the ant birds benefit from the army ants, while the ants are neither harmed nor benefited by the ant birds. When the ants have eaten everything in the area, the colony moves on. A fun fact here is that every few days, these ants move on to a new area because they are very destructive.
About a quarter of the world is covered with grasslands. Every continent has grassland with an exception of Arctic and Antarctic region. Some of the grasslands are North American prairies, South American pampas, and Eurasian steppe. Our partners in crimes in grassland are ants and myriads. Over 10,000 species of ants are known. They can be identified by the constriction between abdomen and thorax. They have large head with compound eyes, antennae, and strong jaws. In temperate grasslands, some of the most common species, such as racea species, are known to protect aphids and move them between plants. Aphids and ants share a well-documented symbiotic relationship. Aphids secrete a waste product called honeydew, and ants love the sticky stuff as they provide them a sugary meal and gives them energy. Ants take the aphids back to their nest in the night to protect from the predators and escort them back to the plants the next morning. These species are also seen for collecting the eggs and placing them in the nest to survive the cold winter months. Aphids are one of the most destructive pests on cultivated plants, and they are also called as plant lice. Aphid herding ants make sure that the aphids are well fed and safe. So when the host plant is depleted of nutrients, they take them to a new food source. Sometimes they go even far as to destroy the eggs of known aphid predators such as ladybugs.
Tropical rainforests have no dry season. These are the areas of heavy rainfall and the average precipitation is at least 60 millimeters. They are also referred to as lowland equatorial evergreen rainforests. Ants and caterpillars are two organisms that are abundantly found in these rainforests. There are over 12,000 species of ants and 180,000 species of caterpillars in this world. Ants under the order Hymenopterans and caterpillars under the order Lepidopterans are classified under the class Insecta. Ants possess 3 body parts, the head, the thorax and the abdomen, and are covered in a hard exoskeleton. They also possess jointed appendages, while caterpillars on the other hand have a cylindrical body carrying 3 pairs of legs on the thorax and several pairs along the abdomen. Ants and caterpillars in some cases are known to perform a type of symbiotic relationship known as mutualism, where both organisms help each other in a certain method as to which they both benefit from it. In this case, a certain class of caterpillars known as Lycaenidae benefit from ants by seeking their protection. When in danger, these caterpillars send a signal for help. They mimic a pheromone that ants secrete when in danger. This alarm pheromone brings the good ants who protect the caterpillar and escort them back to a safe area. Lycaenid caterpillars have a special gland known as the dorsal nectary organ near their body. Once the danger has passed, the caterpillar secretes a droplet of sugar as a reward. The caterpillar gets protection, the ant gets a nutrition-rich snack in return, hence performing a mutualistic symbiotic relationship.
In this section, we shall discuss the wondrous and sunny world of tropical grasslands, from the lush lagoons in South America, our very own Tecton Plateau, and mystical but brutal African savanna. The tropical grasslands represent very diverse and harshly contrasted habitats. A clear form of mutualism takes place between ungulates and oxpeckers. Don't be fooled by their cute looks. They may not look for it, but they are out for your blood, literally. Brightly colored beaks and razor-sharp claws. Oxpeckers are sanguivorous birds. Yes, the savanna makes you do crazy things to survive. Oxpeckers are covered with light brown plumage. Depending on size, shape and color of bill, there are 2 subspecies, yellow and red. The red-billed oxpecker use scissoring motion to extract insects tangled in long hair like manes of giraffes, while yellow-billed oxpeckers use pecking machine to grab insects from fur of short-haired animals like buffaloes or rhinos. Ungulates are an order of mammals which includes most of the grazing herbivores we know today. Especially in savannas, there are giraffes and zebras. They are one of the most numerous mammals, closely behind primates. Their characteristics by hooves and feet, modified keratin, flesh pads that are adaptations to enable them to stand and walk constantly. Impalas and antelopes are some common example of antelopes. They serve as a common prey for a huge variety of predators. Oxpeckers and ungulates share a facultative mutualistic relationship in which the oxpecker uses sharp and nifty beaks to find ticks and tick nymphs stuck in the ungulate's fur and eat them. This is beneficial as ungulates lack the dexterity to deal with this blood-sucking, disease-causing ectoparasites on their own. Simple, right? Not really. Recent studies have found out that this relationship is not purely mutualistic, and in case the tick population drops, it takes a really dark turn. When the amount of ticks in the wild population decreases, these oxpeckers use a different means to find their blood meal. You see, oxpeckers eat ticks because they are full of the blood they have drunk. So in case this is not possible, the oxpeckers deliberately inflict wounds on the ungulates and thus obtain their blood.
Deserts are often thought of as a biome that is hot and dry. This is true for a vast majority of time. However, people are unaware that there are 2 types of deserts. The usual hot and dry one, which receives very little rainfall, is among them. The other is the cold desert. Extreme conditions often encourage parasitism, in which an organism derives its nourishment as well as shelter from another organism. Let's take a look about the parasitic relationship between the coyote and a flea. Let's talk about fleas. Fleas are members of Saphenoptera order which feed on their host blood. Their hind legs are large and highly adapted for leaping. A flea can jump vertically up to 18 centimeters and horizontally up to 33 centimeters, making it one of the finest jumpers of all known creatures in terms of body size, second only to the frog hopper. Let's talk about coyotes. Canis latrans or coyote is a canine species native to North America. It is slightly smaller than its near relative the wolf and closely related eastern and red wolves. Smaller than the grey wolf, it has longer ears and larger brain case than the grey wolf, as well as a leaner physique, face and muzzle. The smell glands are smaller than those of a grey wolf, while the hue is the same. The color diversity in its fur is far less than that of a wolf. When sprinting or strolling, the coyote's tail is carried downwards rather than horizontally like the wolf does. Let's talk about the relationship between the coyote and flea. A flea will suck the blood of a coyote while it goes about its business. This provides the flea with energy and nourishment while injuring or making the coyote uncomfortable. The flea profits while the coyote suffers, and this displays parasitism.
These biomes include small bodies of water that are free of salt. Freshwater biome refers to the standing as well as the floating water. Examples of freshwater biome are the rivers, streams, ponds, and many more. Humans use freshwater for various purposes such as drinking and irrigation. Our specimen pair inhabiting the freshwater biome is Nile crocodile and Egyptian plover. The male are approximately 7.5 to 9.8 feet in length and weigh about 70 to 100 kgs, whereas the females are 6.9 feet in length and weigh approximately 40 kgs. They are light brown in color and have dark bands which progressively becomes fragmented towards the neck region. The body is slender snout and they have smaller teeth than the saltwater crocodiles. They feed on birds and amphibians and also on larger prey such as the wallaby. The digestion in this crocodiles takes place by swallowing of the food without chewing in a compact and smaller tract in the stomach region, which is provided by ridges which helps in breakdown of the food. The gizzard part of the stomach also helps in breaking down of the food, and the other parts which secretes the enzymes helps in digestion. The stomach of the crocodile is most acidic of all the vertebrates. An interesting fact about these crocodiles is their style of capturing the little prey like the fishes. They sit near the prey to come closer to them and lay there motionless and pounces on the fish once it comes closer to them. The Egyptian plover, also known as the crocodile birds, are about 19 to 21 centimeters in length, and their back, crown, breast region and eye mask region appears to be black in color, while the remaining head region appears to be white in color. When seen from below, they appear to be white in color, but the belly region appears to be orange in color. They are mainly seen in Africa in small groups or pairs near the sources of water. A peculiar feature about these plovers is that they bury their eggs in the warm sand to provide warmth to their eggs, and the adults sit with their wet bellies on the eggs to maintain the balance by providing coolness to the eggs. The cheeks are precocial and the cooling mechanism also continues even after the eggs are hatched. The cheeks obtain water initially from the feathers which are wet of the adults. The first example is of the Nile crocodile and Egyptian plover. The Nile crocodile, found in freshwater as the name suggests, shows mutualistic relationship with the Egyptian plover. The mutualistic relationship is a symbiotic relationship in which both the organisms involved are benefited. Here, the Egyptian plover feeds on the food stuck between the teeth in the Nile crocodile. In return, the Nile crocodile is benefited by cleaning its mouth by cleaning of the food stuck in its teeth, which in case would have caused serious infections. So, whenever the crocodile wants its mouth to be clean, it sits wide open for the birds to enter and feed on the food stuck in their teeth. These crocodiles are also known as the Australian freshwater crocodiles, the Johnstone crocodiles, which are found in Australia. These crocodiles do not feed on humans, but they bite as a self-defense mechanism.
The marine biome is the biggest biome in the world. It covers about 70% of the earth. It includes 5 main oceans: the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic and Southern, as well as many smaller bays and gulfs. There's about 1 cup of salt per gallon of water in the ocean. The species of fish interact with and influence one another's behavior. One such association in particular interest is that of isopods and other fish. Isopoda is an order of crustacean that includes woodlice and their relatives. Isopods live in the sea, in fresh water or on land. Isopods have various feeding methods. Some eat dead and decaying plant and animal matter, others are grazers or filter feeders, few are predators, and some are parasite, external or internal parasite, mostly on fish. Terrestrial forms move around by crawling and tend to be found in cool and moist places. Some species are able to roll themselves into a ball as a defensive mechanism or to capture moisture. Parasitic forms of isopods feed on host blood and host hemolymph. Their mouthparts form cone with maxillary pads that tear flesh and tiny pointed mandibles that pierce into the tissue, penetrating the blood vessels and blood sinuses. The gut, particularly the hind gut, gets quickly filled, often swallowing the body. After that, the contents are slowly transferred to the midgut glands for digestion. The parasites are intermittent feeders. They can be major drain on the host, frequently affecting reproductive performance and sometimes affecting growth rate.
As discussed earlier, there are two kinds of deserts, hot and cold. Antarctica is a cold desert that is composed of ice shelves, ice sheets, icebergs, and glaciers. The Antarctic desert is the largest desert on Earth, spanning over a region of 13.8 million square kilometers. Due to the unfavorable climatic conditions out there, the organisms have adapted to forming symbiotic relationships as a means of survival and have formed many associations. As a result of that, one such interesting association is that between an orca and barnacles. Orcinus orca, also known as killer whales, are apex predators that are large, active, long-lived, intelligent, and highly social. Male killer whales can grow up to about 20 to 26 feet long, and they weigh about 8,000 to 12,000 pounds. Whereas female killer whales grow about to 16 to 23 feet long, and they weigh 3,000 to 6,000 pounds. Now, killer whales use echolocation as a means of communication and also as a hunting tool. They make sounds that travel underwater. These sounds hit on an object, they bounce back, therefore revealing their size, shape, and location. Killer whales have identical peg-like teeth that are also sharp that facilitate them in order to catch their slippery prey. Like most odontoceti, they have teeth both in the upper and lower jaw. Barnacles are arthropods contained in the family Crustacea, along with lobsters, crabs, and shrimp. They are believed to be one of the oldest living organisms on this planet. There are more than 1,000 species of barnacles inhabiting brackish and saltwater environments worldwide. Although some barnacles are parasites, most of them are filter feeders. And barnacles begin their life as freely swimming larvae. They undergo 6 larval stages of life. And on their last stage, they attach themselves to a whale and undergo metamorphosis into juvenile barnacle. Now, if you look closely at the lumps and bumps on the skin of a slow-moving whale, you'll notice colonies of its most common hitchhikers that are barnacles. Whales and barnacles have a symbiotic relationship that is called a commensal relationship. Now, in this, the whale doesn't really derive any benefits. However, the barnacle does derive a few benefits, that is a free ride, free food, and protection from the whale. As mentioned earlier, barnacles are filter feeders, which means they rely heavily on the availability of plankton to feed. So when a whale is swimming through plankton-rich waters, the barnacles will filter them through feather-like appendages on the holes of their shells. Next comes protection. When a barnacle is residing on a stationary object, they often fall prey to starfish, various types of fish, sea worms, and snails. Although colonies of barnacles that get a free ride on whales cause a drag or minor skin infection or irritations on the whales, they also prove to be a suit of armor when the whale is under attack due to other whales.
So there you have it, folks. A brief overview of the different kinds of symbiotic interactions that occur on this wonderful planet.
Wow, that sure was quite a trip. My favorite symbiotic relationship was the one with the owl and the woodpecker.
I found the one wherein the oxpecker had a mutualistic relationship with the ungulates to be really fascinating.
And now, as it has always been, all good things must come to an end. So should this walk of life. Don't forget to like, share, and
not the cliched conclusion, Giselle. If you would like to be a part of our further events, consider following us on Instagram to stay updated. Follow at Xavier Zoology Association. Link is in the description. Our motto, as always, is to inspire, to involve, to inform.
to inspire, to involve, to inform. Thank you.
Thank you.